Hello and welcome to the show. We start this week's Failrace episode with Prophet on GTA 5, who has managed to not do a great job of reversing their truck out of a tunnel. So they lost wanted level, trying to get out of the tunnel and get it a little bit wrong. Now, the way the trailer's been lost, a bit awkward. I've got to go and shuffle around and move the trailer about, and I know what you're thinking. Because I know what I was thinking the first time that I was seeing this. You're going to spend too long messing around on a train line, and guess what is going to make an appearance if you aren't careful. It wasn't the first attempt that got the thing connected. They get it connected, but sure enough, here comes the train. However, not only does it punt the truck out of the way, the thing they're trying to rescue ends up upside down with the boat through the floor. The train, to finish it off, grabs the truck and carries it away. I don't think you could manage to do that one if you tried. I mean, getting hit by the train while messing about trying to connect the trailer, sure, but no, the train has actually managed to steal the truck away. Is very, very impressive going. LukeGames up next on GTA 5. They're playing a spot of single player, and they have got a wanted level. The police are there in force trying to stop the Sand King. Now, the Sand King, not the best getaway vehicle that you could opt for, as well we are about to see. It has a habit of, well, climbing over cars, and this time the Failrace Police Department, quite effective at managing to cause issues, although the Sand King does land on its wheels and carry on. Normally it's the cars driving under it, not the Sand King climbing over, but still. This name is Lame is up next on Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, and yes, that good old Failrace Police Department, they've made their way into some older games in this episode. Actually quite an effective manoeuvre from the police car. It's the BMW that finds itself caught climbing over the back of the Ford. It is gradually being brought to a halt. It does eventually kind of get on the roof, slide off the bonnet, but that's too late. That is a capture. That's some great work from the SVT Cobra right there. See Infiniti up next on Most Wanted is trying to aim for the pursuit breaker. Unfortunately, it went straight into the concrete pillar that's kind of got them stuck here a bit. The car ending up on its nose before getting reset. I mean, they got quite lucky, actually. There weren't more police cars around to cause issues. I mean, they did take out some of the cars with that explosion. We're on to Driver Parallel Lines. I think the first time this game has appeared in this series with, you've guessed it, Failrace Police Department are back. I'm going to guess the player may have had a wanted level and ran into the building to lose it or something, and the police don't quite know how to deal with said actions, so they decide to run into the building, run over a pedestrian, and then run over the player for good measure. Wonderful stuff. Wonderful stuff. Gotta love the AI just getting very confused and lost. Speaking of, Rob is up next on My Garage, when up ahead two AIs in muscle cars just don't know how to drive. They kind of get a tank slappery wobble going on, and both end up spinning in a similar manner, almost managing to wipe out the player car in the process, although they get away with that. I think they might have got hit a little bit on the back, but it could have been an awful lot worse. We're on to WRC 10 for our next clip. I mean, you know what often happens in Sweden on rally games? You hit the bank and go for a massive roll. This time, though, no, physics has had enough. Physics has had enough of your shenanigans, and while hitting the bank occurred, now the car is just wedged at an unnatural angle. Doesn't matter what you do in terms of gears, that's not going to be getting out of there anytime soon. TonySki is up next on WRC 8. They are also doing spot rain. Less snow to be worrying about in this one, but there is a new peril to look out for. Now, I've all done it, where you randomly pause the game quickly, you check your monitor, check your phone, all of that kind of stuff. It can be very dangerous if you happened to be heading towards a rock that you didn't realise at the time. Well, a rock made of some weird bouncy material. As you know, crashing into the rock, one thing. The fact that it just pinged you back a good few hundred meters is not so good. Almost immediately rolled on the corner, which would have been great, but got away with that one. AsqRob next on BeamNG Drive is at the Nürburgring with the Covet race car. Now, they are heading towards the pits. I think the car may have sustained some sort of damage along the way, but it is not really a particularly graceful entrance Nope, that is well and truly Austin's powers in the, the pit-in part. Small Man up next on Project Cars 2 is minding their own business, racing around also at the Nürburgring when they spot upon a weird sight. Up ahead at the carousel is, I think it's a Ginetta, that is just stuck on the wall. In fact, it's kind of exploded debris everywhere around the place. Now, you might notice there is an orange wing. Now, that I don't think came off the Ginetta. I think it came off this, that then proceeds to have an almighty smash completely on its own a corner or two later. So obviously something weird has gone on with these cars. And yeah, this thing just goes for an all... It just hits something invisible, and it has a big flash. It might not be in the wing from that car, because that's still got the supports on it. I don't know. Something weird, I think, happened between those two, and the game decided to sort it out by having one stuck and one just pinging around. Two-stroke up next on Assetto Corsa with a disappearing Viper. That being an AI car that was minding its own business, having its own race. It goes for an overtake on the port. Sensible enough kind of attempt, but gets it a little bit wrong. It's bouncing on the curb and has a spin. All understandable. Celine has nowhere to go, and then everything explodes. Yeah. I mean, it's a perfectly natural, normal, almost accident to have at a circuit. The reaction from the game, and I don't quite know why it decided that the Viper just needed to be flung around, and yeah, it's got all sorts of weird. I mean, I've seen stuff ping around in Assetto Corsa before. This is one of the weirder ones, actually, what ends up happening for the car. So yeah, Viper to the inside, just can't quite keep it all together. When it gets hit, the speedo goes to, I think it's about 13,000 kilometers an hour. Very briefly, it is launched at 13,000. I don't know whether it's launched up or down, because it happens unbelievably quickly. And now we're just sitting at a casual 1,000 kilometers an hour, falling through space and time, pretty much. And finally, we have a Not Drunk on Farming Simulator 22. Now, I don't know, I presume this is a mod vehicle, right? This weird, giant crane. It looks like one of the dock cranes, right? And it goes for a falling over. Physics has had enough of its shenanigans, and it's gone for a falling over. And it's stuck on its side. Okay, well, it's not the biggest, surprise that this might fall over when being manoeuvred around. Trying to self-right it is going, I mean, predictably about as well as you can imagine. With the amount the wheels can turn, it's not a surprise that it can kind of make some contact with the floor. It does sort of like it gets sort of weirdly magnetically pulled towards the trees, because you can still move the container up and down while it's on its side. But up until this point, everything is loosely making sense. And I'm going to say that, as far as a Failrace episode goes, it's loosely making some kind of sense. It gets a little bit glitchy if you put the container near the wheels. However, it then starts to get really glitchy. It first of all starts to rear up, and then as the container is, I say drop down, it's technically now being elevated. Yep, things are going strange. Physics is starting to not really make less sense than normal. In fact, we are not just going up, we are just spinning around in a circle. From on board, it's all very weird. I mean, maybe it'll land nicely on its wheels. No, we've climbed over a building. It's getting sillier at this point, and we're still climbing along. Doesn't look like it's going to land on its wheels anytime soon. We're going to bounce off a building. Oh, now I've got even more height. And now we are getting to the point where it's almost just completely doing rotations in the air, and we're climbing over a building, and now we're flying. Probably the right time to bail out of that, if I'm honest. Now it's just a fairground ride at this point. It's not really... it's slammed into the floor and then back out again. Gravity is playing keep away with any sort of sense. We're back to flying about again. It's almost landing on its wheels, briefly. No, we're going to spin even faster. Definitely a good idea to get out of it. Now it's real gone mad. It's off. No, it's slowed down again. Now we're going back, and now we're going to settle in those trees. I think it needs to lie down. I think it might be time to retire that crane thing, whatever you want to call it. But there we go. That is going to be it for this episode. As ever, if you have clips you'd like to submit to this series, you can via a Google form. There'll be a link to it in the description. All the rules and how it works can be found on there. That, though, is going to be it from me. Thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.